Summer arrived early in 1985. The city felt alive. Every street seemed brighter, every night seemed longer, and every song on the radio sounded like it was written for someone in love. I was younger then, still believing that life always moved forward, that people stayed, that promises lasted forever. Warm pavement and possibility. The skyline glowed after dark, reflecting across the river like thousands of tiny stars scattered across the water every evening. I drive through downtown, windows down, music playing too loud. Without knowing, my entire life was about to change. Back then, I thought memories were made slowly, over years, over decades. But sometimes a single season can stay with you forever. Sometimes one summer can follow you for the rest of your life. The cassette spins softly, and I can still see it all. The neon signs, the crowded sidewalks, the warm night air. And somewhere among those memories, a face I hadn't met yet, a story that hadn't begun, a chapter waiting quietly around the corner in the summer of 1985. I remember the night exactly, more clearly than I remember yesterday. The radio was playing softly, the city was glowing beneath a sky full of fading light. And there you were, standing beneath the street lamp, like a scene from an old movie. Everything else disappeared. The traffic, the music, the noise, even time itself seemed to slow down. People talk about love like lightning, like fireworks, like something dramatic. But for me, it felt quieter, like recognizing a melody I had somehow known forever. We talked for hours about music, dreams, road trips, the future, and all the places we wanted to see. Neither of us knew that one conversation would become a memory. I'd still carry decades later the city lights reflected in your eyes, and every time you smiled, the world felt easier. Some nights become memories before they're even over, and somehow I knew this would be one of them. The first night, the first conversation, the first chapter of a story I would never completely forget. The nights belonged to us then. Endless roads, endless conversations, endless possibilities. We drove without destinations, without maps, without reasons, just because being together made every road worth taking. The city looked different beside you, brighter somehow, more alive. The radio played old love songs, and we sang every word wrong, laughing louder than the music. The skyline stretched before us like a promise, waiting to be fulfilled. Coffee shops, gas stations, street corners, every place became part of our story, and every story became part of us. There are roads I still avoid, not because they hurt, but because they remember. They remember your laughter, your voice, the way you'd stare out the window, watching lights blur past like scenes from a movie. The years have changed many things, but sometimes late at night, when the city is quiet and an old song starts playing, I can still see us driving through the summer of 1985, believing the road would never end. There was a season when everything felt permanent. The city, the music, the summer nights, and especially us. We were too young to imagine endings, too in love to believe distance could exist. The future looked simple then, a long road ahead with both of us, walking side by side. Every plan included your name, every dream included your smile. Every tomorrow seemed certain, like the sunrise like the changing seasons, like the songs playing on the radio. We collected memories without realizing it. Photographs tucked inside drawers, movie tickets, handwritten notes, late night conversations that lasted until dawn. The little things always became the biggest things later. I remember standing beside the river, watching reflections dance across the water. You leaned against my shoulder and whispered softly, "I hope this never ends." I smiled and said the same thing, because at that moment, I truly believed it. We both did. Maybe that's why those memories shine so brightly, because they were real, because we meant every word, because for a little while, we had everything. The city lights glowed around us. The radio played another love song. And somewhere deep inside, two young hearts mistook forever for something guaranteed, not knowing how fragile forever could be. The rain arrived unexpectedly, as if the sky knew something before we did. Clouds covered the city, streetlights blurred against wet pavement, and the world felt strangely quiet. We sat inside your car, parked near the overlook, the same place where we'd watched sunsets together hundreds of times before. But tonight was different. I could feel it in the silence, in the way you stared through the windshield, in the way your hands trembled slightly before finding the right words or trying to. The radio played softly, an old song neither of us heard, because our hearts were louder than the music. You spoke carefully, like someone carrying fragile glass, afraid of breaking it, but some things break anyway, no matter how gently they're held. I remember every detail, the rain sliding down the windows, the distant city lights, the smell of wet asphalt, the sound of your voice, growing quieter with every sentence. Neither of us cried immediately. Pain doesn't always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it enters slowly, like rain beneath a door, before you realize everything has changed. When the conversation ended, the storm was still falling, and so was the future we imagined. disappeared into the darkness and stood alone, listening to the rain, knowing nothing would ever sound the same again. 1986 arrived, but part of me stayed behind. Somewhere in 1985, somewhere between your smile and that rainy goodbye, the world kept moving, friends moved away, buildings changed, songs disappeared from the charts. Seasons came and went, but memories refused to leave. Every street reminded me, every song reminded me, every sunset, every coffee shop, every city light after dark seemed connected to you. I wasn't trying to remember, that's what made it harder. The memories appeared on their own in ordinary moments, while driving home, while hearing an old melody, while passing places that still carried your shadow. Some nights I would sit alone, listening to old cassette tapes, rewinding songs, not because they sounded better, but because they sounded like us. I told myself time would erase everything, that one day the memories would disappear. But time doesn't work that way. It softens edges, it changes colors, but it rarely removes what mattered. And the truth was simple, 1985 wasn't just a year, it became a place inside my heart, where your laughter still echoed, where summer never ended, where two people still believed love could last forever. And no matter how far life carried me, part of me always returned there to the year. I couldn't forget you. For the longest time, I thought healing meant forgetting. I thought moving forward meant leaving everything behind. The photographs, the songs, the streets we used to drive, the memories I carried like old letters folded carefully inside my heart. But healing never arrived that way. It arrived quietly, in moments I almost didn't notice. The first time I heard your name, without feeling a crack inside my chest. The first time I passed our favorite cafe and kept walking. The first time I listened to our old song and smiled. Instead of turning it off, the city still remembers the same skyline, the same river, the same lights reflecting across dark water. Yet somehow I see everything differently now. Maybe because time didn't erase the memories, it simply changed them, softened the edges, turned sharp pain into gentle nostalgia. I no longer wish to rewrite the ending or travel backward to fix what couldn't be fixed. Some stories are meant to teach us not to stay forever, and maybe that's enough tonight. The cassette keeps spinning, the city keeps glowing, and the past finally feels like an old photograph. Still beautiful, still meaningful, but no longer heavy to carry. For the first time, I can remember everything without breaking apart, and that feels like freedom. Rain stops sometime before dawn, leaving the city quiet and shining. The streets below still reflected yesterday's storm, but above them a new morning waited patiently. I stand beside the window, holding a warm cup of coffee, watching the horizon change colors, dark blue becoming gold, night becoming morning. And somehow the same thing is happening inside me. For years I measured life by what I lost, the conversations, the plans, the future we imagined. But standing here now, I realize something life never stopped giving. Even after goodbye. Places I never expected. The city outside is waking up slowly, cars moving through empty streets, lights turning on. People beginning their day, and for the first time in a very long while, the future like a road I've never driven, like a song I've never heard, like a story waiting to begin. The cassette reaches another chorus, and the sunlight fills the room. The memories remain, but they no longer pull me backward. They walk beside me now, quietly, like old friends, helping me appreciate how far I've come. The storm is over, the night is over, and another sunrise has finally arrived. There was a time when thinking about you only brought sadness. A time when every memory felt like something missing, something unfinished, something I could never replace. But this morning feels different. The city is bright now, the storm is gone, and gratitude has finally replaced regret. I think about the summer nights, the road trips, the laughter, the long conversations, the dreams we shared. And instead of wishing they had lasted longer, I'm simply grateful that they happen at all. Not everyone gets a love worth remembering. Not everyone gets memories that stay alive for decades. Not everyone gets a chapter that changes them forever. But I did, because of you. You taught me how to love, how to hope, how to trust another person with every part of myself. And even though our story ended, the lessons never did. The music continues softly, the city sparkles beyond the glass, and I realize the ending was never the most important part. The journey was the years we shared, the moments we created, the people we became because of each other. If I could say one thing to the version of you living somewhere inside those memories, it would be simple. Thank you for the laughter, for the love, for the beautiful chapter I will carry forever. For the laughter. The finest song whisper floating through the room as morning sunlight reaches across the city skyline. The cassette turns slowly, one last melody, one last memory, one last look at everything that brought me here. The rain is gone now, the streets below are shining, still carrying traces of the storm that passed hours ago. Just as my heart still carries traces of a year that never truly left. 1985, a simple number, a single year, yet somehow it became an entire lifetime inside my memory. The year I met you, the year I learned what love could feel like. The year every song sounded brighter, every road felt longer, and every dream felt possible. I remember the city, the neon lights, the late night drives, the radio stations, playing songs we'd sing together. Even when neither of us knew the words, I remember summer evenings, warm air through open windows, your laughter mixing with the music, as if the whole world had been written just for us. We didn't know how memories could become places people return to again and again. The room grows brighter as sunlight fills every corner, and for the first time I look back without sadness, without regret, without wishing anything had been different. Because every moment, even the painful ones, led me here to this morning, to this peace, to this understanding that love doesn't fail just because it ends. Some stories aren't meant to last forever, they're meant to change us forever. The cassette reaches its end, a soft click echoes through the silence, and somehow that sound feels beautiful, like the closing scene of an old film you've watched 100 times, yet still love every single time. I walk toward the window and watch the city awaken, people beginning new days, cars moving through sunlight, life continuing the way it always does. And I realize I'm finally ready to let the year remain exactly where it belongs. Not in front of me, not holding me back, but safely behind me, as part of my story, as part of who I became, as part of a beautiful chapter that will always matter. skyline and quietly whisper, thank you. For the memories, for the lessons, for the love, for the music, for every road we travel, for every dream we share, for every moment that still shines somewhere inside my heart. Then I take a deep breath, turn toward the sunlight, and begin walking forward, without fear, without regret, without looking back. As the fire